Willkommen bei Sales & Pepper, dem modernen Vertriebspodcast für alle, die keinen Bock mehr haben auf 0815 Vertrieb.
Hello and welcome back to Sales & Pepper podcast. My name is Dominic and I'm your podcast host. If you're working in sales, leading a sales team, or if you're a founder interested in how to scale your sales team, this is the podcast you're right. And today's guest is already the second time here on the podcast. She was also one of our keynote speakers at Artus Circus and spoke about one of the hottest topics in sales leadership right now. And I'm talking about a topic called emotional intelligence. So good to have you back, Steph, and good to have another conversation about emotional intelligence with you.
I love to be here, Dom. It's amazing, and let's get into it. Lots to discuss.
Let's go. For those people who don't know you, I was looking on your CV on LinkedIn yesterday to just remember myself what impressive stuff you have done already.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's like impressive companies on your CV. You worked for Freshworks, for SAP, for Cisco. There's like a lot of great companies you've worked for. Now you're also building your own company as a coach, leadership coach.
Yeah.
Maybe for those of the people who don't know you, who's Steph and what are you excited about when it comes to emotional intelligence?
So I'm really grateful to have worked for some of the world's largest companies, also some hyper-growth SaaS unicorns that you mentioned, Remote, Freshworks and so on. And who am I? Well, my leadership style is a coach. Yeah. And I've defined this over the last 8 years of leading a variety of different sales teams through crazy market conditions and different segments. We'll come on to that. And what I really pride myself on is this skill of emotional intelligence, because only 36% of the world's population is emotionally intelligent.
Yes.
And I can really see it's helped me tremendously in my leadership career. And that's why I'm on a mission to actually help other leaders, especially and salespeople, develop these very important skills, especially in our new AI world.
Yeah. And for those of you who have no idea about what emotional intelligence is, please listen to the previous episode, because there we talked about it a lot. She described it as the art of influencing others. But today we want to talk about leadership skills. Yeah. And you mentioned it, due to the AI, leadership changed a lot or will change even more in the future. And you're a firm believer that emotional intelligence is getting more and more important. Maybe like for our guests, like why do you think that is? Like why do you think it's becoming more and more important?
Well, AI, and I'm talking about generative AI, also agentic AI, is designed to automate tasks, processes, systems, to make our lives easier.
Yeah.
However, where we come in as people, where we have the edge, where we will always be relevant, is in true innovation, human creativity, and also the art of truly influencing others. So the art of leadership, making an impact on other people, a positive impact. And if you can't manage yourself, how in the hell are you going to manage anybody else? I've said that before, I'm saying it again.
Yeah.
So if you don't have emotional intelligence, which means you cannot recognize or regulate both your own and other people's emotions, there's no way you're gonna stay ahead as a leader as AI develops. There's just no way.
And it seems like you have been very successful in what you're doing, also in your role as a leader in these kind of companies. Is there something you're specifically very proud of? You're like one of the achievements where you say, hey, this is where with my EQ, with my high EQ, like I was actually able to build something or to achieve something that I'm very proud of?
Yeah, I have to say, I have to think back to my first leadership role all those years ago at Freshworks. I was leading the DACH and UKI sales teams. And this was in the Corona year. It hit us out of nowhere, 2020, never forget it. You know, we were one week in the office, 5 days a week, next week we're all remote. And it was this year where actually my team won the President's Club Award in the Corona year. Nice. We were the only team in EMEA to hit our target. Yeah. And I still get goosebumps thinking about it. This team were phenomenal. And there, due to my communication skills, my empathy, kind of reading the room, navigating uncertainty and this tremendous change that we're all experiencing, I believe I was able to lead the team to success.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah, and I truly believe that this is the case, because also looking back to my own career, when I look at my managers, there have been people, especially during Corona, that became the worst nightmares, like they really like micromanaging everyone because they felt like they're losing control. And then it's like, let's do more process, more of like, I don't know, I got calls like, hey, why are you not on the laptop right now? Like, you know, it's like, it was a nightmare.
That's terrible.
But also the other way around. I had leaders that were like, okay, I don't care if you're like going to the dentist as long as your targets are hit, right? It's like, if you need to go to the dentist, you don't need to ask me, just tell me that you're going. And I think this comes along with emotional intelligence. Like, how am I able to lead people and lead by example and understand what about people needs, right? As mentioned, like I think, especially due to AI, this skill is getting more and more important, not only for leaders, but also in sales, I would say, like for sellers. Looking to AI, because I think this is not one or the other. How would you tell people like working in leadership and sales leadership, how can they balance these two things? Like, how can I, like as a leader, use AI to be more productive, but also develop the skills that I need to be emotionally intelligent and lead the team to success?
I mean, how do you use AI on an everyday basis, right? You use it to make...
I use it a lot, actually.
Yeah, one of the two top ways you use AI, just out of interest.
Kurze Pause, bevor es weitergeht. Zeit für unseren Partner Kickscale. Jeder, der im Sales arbeitet, kennt es. Admin-Kram nervt. Stundenlang Meeting-Notizen tippen, CRM aufräumen, E-Mails schreiben und dabei möchtest du doch eigentlich nur verkaufen. Mit Kickscale geht das auf Knopfdruck. Das Tool nimmt deine Sales Calls DSGVO-konform auf, fasst alles automatisch zusammen, überträgt die Infos direkt ins CRM und erstellt sogar eine fertige E-Mail für deinen Kunden. Weniger tippen, mehr Sales. Und als Hörer bekommst du exklusiv 50 kostenlose Meeting-Analysen. Link in den Shownotes. Und jetzt geht's weiter mit der Folge.
I think what probably most people are using is the text thing, right? It's like just like I have an idea, just put it into AI and just like comes up with. I have one explicit one example, not for sales, but like in my private life. Sometimes like I had problems with my apartment and I wanted to write an email to the apartment owner, and I was so upset that I was writing the email. It didn't sound very good, to be honest, and not very professional. So I was just sending this text and say, hey, make a professional email out of it. Please use like kind language. And then I got the email and was like, this sounds much better, right? And I think this is where I feel like this is a no-brainer. Everyone can use it. And then, of course, also where I feel like it's getting more and more important and creating more value is when you're connecting the dots between the lines. So not only that you are the one giving input, but when AI becomes your co-pilot also as a leader and telling you, hey, look at these things that are happening right now that you probably haven't seen. But yeah, like what's your point of view there?
This is the reason why I asked you, because that's exactly what I had in mind. So you can actually use AI as a leader to help you with your emotional regulation. So this example you gave, which is where you kind of just like, you just emotional garbage, right? So before you do that to someone on your team, right, do that into ChatGPT or Gemini and be like, okay, just garbage it all out, vomit out your emotions to the AI, then let it, let it then rewrite it, be a bit more diplomatic, a little bit more sensitive to the person you want to deliver that to, and there you go. You've just avoided ruining someone's day and impacting their productivity.
What is super interesting there, and I saw this on Instagram a couple of days ago, is that because you mentioned like AI will never be emotionally intelligent because this is what humans are, right? So it's not the AI.
No.
But some people using AI to become more emotionally intelligent, and this is why some people are concerned. It's like when I need to ask a machine to become more, let's say, emotionally intelligent, where's this leading to, right? I think this because some people are concerned about that, and that everyone is like using AI as a psychologist or whatever. It's like, who is actually having a look on that, like which direction we are going. And if you trusting too much on an AI, it could be a risk as well to become not the leader you want to be.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there is a huge philosophical question here as well. I'm really
true.
fascinated.
Very deep, probably another episode as well.
Look, the worst mistakes I see leaders make is being reactive,
Yes.
so impulsive. Whether you say something you regret, you make a decision too quickly, you overreact, right? And then you ruin that person's day, or you regret what you did, it was the wrong decision. You know, things unfold in the way that you didn't intend to.
Yeah.
If what you need, and this is what AI can help you with, is just time. You need to give yourself, you need some space between like the impulse and how you respond. And most people, they react, then they don't respond. So they just impulsively react. If you just use AI to just that one prompt, you're like, okay, this is what I'm thinking, bam. That gives you time to then actually regulate your emotions, label what's going on inside of you. You can do that yourself. Yeah, you need to be in tune with your nervous system, understand where the emotions are rising in your body, label it. Then you can respond. And if that means you vomit into the AI and then you just like regulate yourself, so be it. But it's still you then making the decision, the next step, what happens next. But you use the AI as like a tool to help you.
I also talked about this topic with you a couple of weeks ago when we had breakfast together, and nice. You mentioned the AI work slop. I had to Google it, to be honest.
Yeah, right.
I didn't heard it before.
Cool name, no? It sticks.
Yeah, it does. But for those of the listeners who haven't heard about it, can you explain what the AI work slop is and why it's important for leaders?
Yeah, like the name suggests, work slop. This is a bunch of studies made in Harvard Business Review, so it's not my idea. But I read it and I was like, oh my goodness, this is happening every day. Basically, it's the new way to cognitively offload.
Yeah.
Cognitive offloading means when you're procrastinating, when you actually don't want to do that thing, you're like, oh man, how can I just like either not do it or do it later or do it as quick as possible? I don't really care about the quality. Yeah. You then go to AI, you're like, okay, do this report summary or do this presentation or do this whatever I need to do now, wherever, as a leader, seller, doesn't matter. You go and then you like have the standard AI answer, the standard document, and then you just send it to that stakeholder who's asking for it and you're like, done. I did the job in like 30 minutes. Wow. But then what happens? Productivity dramatically reduces. Why? Because the person who receives that is like, but this isn't good quality. Like, this isn't even right. This is too generic. Like, I have to redo this whole thing. They then lose trust in you to do the job well. Collaboration breaks. And that's then the chain of like damaging productivity in teams. Yeah. It's a big problem. Yeah. So leaders need to really set clear guidelines about how and when to use AI. So when does it add value and when doesn't it add value? And secondly, to really set these like basic standards. Also, when you use AI, what should the quality of the output look like? Yeah. So you need to apply your pace setting. It's called leadership style, where you set high standards and high expectations, and you make that clear. That should also apply to work with AI, and it's just not. It's somehow like, hey team, just use AI. Like, just do it. Just use it as much as possible, but without guidelines, of course, there's going to be work slop. Yeah.
And I also see this like a lot when it comes to creating content or emails or whatever. It's just like, as long as you don't know what to ask the AI, or if your prompt is pretty shitty, it's like, I heard this term a lot in the last couple of weeks, like garbage in, garbage out. And I think this is exactly what you see is like a lot of people in sales trusting AI too much. And as you mentioned, like getting lazy and saying, hey, just write this email for me, and then just don't read over it, or just don't take the time to review what you got there and nailing it in the end, and then sending it out, and it actually hurts your sales process, your targets and stuff like this. Also in outreach, we talked about it in one of the previous episodes already, is like when you're relying too much on AI, it's just spam. Like, it's not going to work out. So I totally see your point here, that AI actually can harm you if you don't use it in the right way.
I mean, how many DMs or emails, Dom, that you receive that you know for sure has been written by AI? Yeah. Like, how many on an average week? You just know.
And I also see people reacting very differently. So I have one friend of mine, like it's just on a personal level, he received a message from his girlfriend, and he said he was raging because she wrote it with AI. It's like, yeah, but who cares? Like, why wouldn't you let her write this text with AI when she's not able to communicate the way she wants to and just put it into a prompt and trying to send it to you? Have you seen something similar also in leadership, that is like when AI is used, that people react like this, like, hey, I don't want to have it like this?
You know what, you just touched upon something I see a lot in many teams. And I get asked this a lot. It's like, okay, but I want to use it to do good and I have good intentions, but then people are like really skeptical of what I'm doing. So what I always say is like, it's just about setting the right expectations and being transparent. So communicate. What I do as well, I'm still leading an amazing team, and as well as coaching, and it's, you just say, hey team, so I use AI for this part of our one-on-ones, so to like structure the agenda and to summarize, I will use Gemini, for example, but the rest, like, this is me making my own notes and assessments. Or you can just say, hey team, for our, I don't know, weekly meeting summaries, I'm gonna post via Slack, but I'm gonna use AI, so, you know, just let me know what you think. As soon as you say that and the team know, or people know what to expect, then this goes away usually.
That's super interesting. Maybe let's go a bit deeper here, because we also have a lot of sales leaders and founders listening in and looking for new ways how to leverage these kind of things. Do you have like let's say 2-3 examples where, I mean, you're a big fan of emotional intelligence, but you're saying you're also using AI.
Absolutely.
2-3 like areas where you are using AI for your daily work when leading people.
So first things first, I don't want to stop thinking. So with your brain, it's like either you use it or you lose it. So I'm very much, you use it or you lose it. It's really, so it's like, I don't want to, no matter what I'm doing, it's like, right, I first want to think this through. So what I do is let's say I have I'm thinking about new initiatives for FY26 Q1 pipeline generation, for my team. Then I'm like, okay, from my experience, these are some of the things that have worked in the past, you know, I summarize it, collect it, and I'm like, okay, I want you to act like a consultant and critique this. Can you share the two-sided balanced view of why this could work and why it couldn't work? Share the contrarian view, consult me, ask me questions. Is there something missing? So this is how I use it. And then it says I'm thinking, it's my stuff. Because remember, like, all this data that AI is using, it's just old. They're just regurgitating history, basically. So it's nothing recent, nothing innovative. So if you're not thinking and actually basing your prompts on your own experience, you're just going to get generic garbage out, and everyone will know. So that's how I do it, no matter what I'm facing. I use it as a consultant.
I really love it, because it's kind of this sidekick, right? You have it, you ask questions, but you always make your own decisions. So that's really good. And this is something that also people do wrong when leading people. But you're working with a lot of clients as well, helping them train the leadership team on being more emotionally intelligent. Is there any red flags you are seeing where you say, okay, when you behave like this is not a good leadership style in 2026 and beyond? Like, what would you say? Like, what are the biggest red flags? Maybe let's start with that question.
Hey Dom, you mentioned it earlier. What was that comment you said about in Corona? There was this leader who was just calling you nonstop. How did that feel? There you go, micromanaging. How did that feel for you? Did it make you more productive?
No, not by far. But also, it was the number one answer I got in hiring interviews. That when I asked, like, what are you expecting from me as your manager? It was the number one answer was, I don't want to have a micromanager. So I think people underestimating how much people hate being micromanaged. Oh
my gosh. And you know what? The sad thing about micromanagement is most of the time it's not intended. It comes from insecurity, especially as a first-time leader, and I spend a lot of time especially coaching first-time leaders. I also designed this course on Udemy specifically for first-time leaders, because they just left alone. They had to figure everything out. It's crazy. So I'm really grateful to have this course, and they've helped a lot of managers. But so when you're new, you're like, okay, how can I make sure that the team performs? I have to control everything. If I can't lead what I can't see. So that it's kind of that, just I'm insecure, I don't know what to do. Okay, let me just know what everyone's doing at all times, and then they'll be successful. So with coaching, usually that goes away very quickly because, as you so rightly said, there's not one person who's listening. No one, I think, would say, yeah, I really want a micromanager as a leader. That's amazing. No.
But I think also like most managers you will ask will not see themselves as a micromanager. So this is also like a problem out there. It's just like when you ask them, like, are you a micromanager? They will say, no, I'm not.
Of course not. And then that tells me they lack one huge component of emotional intelligence, which is self-awareness.
Yeah.
They don't have self-awareness. And why don't they have self-awareness? Because they don't journal. They don't note down, I don't know, surprising emotions, frustrations, unexpected events. They don't regulate their emotions. They don't notice how other people are reacting to certain situations. They don't listen enough. So it doesn't surprise me that then without that, they think that they're not a micromanager.
Yeah.
So that's just, they're both linked, self-awareness, micromanagement.
Is there, because I think also a lot of people listening in and want to improve, that's why they listen to these kind of podcasts, right? Maybe asking themselves, okay, how do I actually test if I'm emotionally intelligent, and also what 1-2 things could I do to become more emotionally intelligent? Like what would you recommend these people? It's like how do they recognize, but also how they become more emotionally intelligent?
Yeah. So what I always say, how to recognize if you're emotionally intelligent, you need to ask people you trust.
Yeah.
So someone you really trust, a spouse, best friend, someone who just tells you how it is, yeah, no sugarcoating. Be like, okay, so this is how I think the world perceives me. How far off am I?
Yeah.
Yeah. I had this conversation. I have this with my wife quite regularly. I'm like, okay, so I think I'm like this. Like, what would you add to or disagree to? And it's amazing. Like, either it confirms what you believe or you learn something new about yourself. So that's one way to check. Secondly, you get feedback from the world around you, right? So your team, when they do reviews about your leadership, they should say, yeah, I feel like my leader, like you're empathetic, that I feel heard and understood and listened to by you. You bring out my best self. If you're getting that feedback from your team, then you know that, okay, yeah, I have emotional intelligence. These are I know it sounds like most leaders think, oh man, I don't even read these reviews or these like assessments, but it is telling you the truth, and you need to have a mirror and look at yourself. Take one long look at yourself in the mirror to assess that. That's how it all starts. And that's what I do. I do like a deep self-reflection exercise with the people I'm coaching, leaders I'm coaching, to assess their level before we start. Yeah.
I did something similar actually a couple of years ago when I went to therapy, and I was trying to find out what are my strengths and my weaknesses, like what that I don't see. So I was really going through my phone book and texting friends, family, colleagues, and asked them like, okay, why do you like me? What's things that you don't like about me, and be like very honest, and will not judge you about it. And what was super interesting for me was that the perspective changed from the target audience, let's say. So when I asked my family, they painted the totally different picture than my friends did, and also the colleagues painted a different picture. So what it showed me was a bit of, okay, I'm also behaving kind of different, or people perceive me different in different, let's say, ecosystems. And that was kind of a interesting point of view I actually came up with, that I was like, okay, this is interesting. It's like I thought I'm always the same person, but it seems like I'm behaving differently.
That's good, Dom. That actually shows emotional intelligence. You need to be adaptable. One of the components is social skill. Yeah. So the ability to adapt to different contexts and situations, that's actually a hallmark of emotional intelligence. So you can be proud of that.
I think it's also what it showed me is like when then you ask the same question to yourself, it's like, okay, how do I actually want to be perceived by my family, by my friends, and by my coworkers? Then you also will come up with, hey, actually I want to be different in that kind of area than with my kids, for example, right? So I think that helped me also a lot to get a new perspective on who I am and who I want to be.
Fantastic.
But yeah, it was quite helpful back then.
And I do something like a leadership styles assessment. No, first thing I do is like, okay, what's your leadership style? Most people can't even answer that question.
That's true.
So that's a similar exercise. Okay, like let's think about your values. What feedback have you received from other people? What kind of leader do you want to be? What are your strengths and weaknesses? And let's put that together in 2 or 3 sentences, and you'll share that with your team in your next meeting. Yeah. That's the first thing.
One thing we've learned in management at Pleo back then, we got actually trained on how to manage people. And one thing we did back then is also collecting feedback, but also learning that you don't take it personal, right? So I think this is something that many people get wrong also when receiving feedback, is that they're sad afterwards or like very frustrated that they got this feedback. So I think one of the biggest skills you can actually develop is really listening to feedback, but don't take it personal, and trying to also not take everything too serious, because if it's just one person telling you this person also might be off, right? So I think getting feedback is important. Also asking people about feedback is important, but not taking everything for granted is, I think, also something that you need to be aware of when you ask these questions. You probably might also get answers that you don't want to hear, and then it's like also about how do you react to it, right? So how do you use this information now? Is it something that really gets too intense for you, or are you able to actually, you said it, regulate your emotions? That was something that was quite interesting to me as well. Yeah.
That's a great point, and that's a great opportunity for you to regulate your emotions and to just observe. And again, don't be judgmental. Like, the emotions are not good or bad, they just are. Some are difficult, some are easier. Just observe what happens. For me, I mean, for most people, you might get some signs of discomfort, and that's completely natural. So what I say to myself before, like, you need to brace yourself a little bit before an uncomfortable situation or a difficult conversation, receiving feedback, giving feedback. That's also something people suck at. Most people avoid difficult. So it's like, you need to give yourself a little emotional pep talk. No? Be like, okay, so I know that you're going to react like this and this. Yeah, you're going to most likely experience these emotions, and that's okay. Do it anyway. Yeah? It's going to be okay. And then you just listen with an open ear. With feedback, it is subjective. So take the valuable parts of it, and the more the better, then you can maybe see patterns. But as you said, it's subjective. So you need to take what you think is the most valuable, listen to everything, because you never know. Maybe that part where you didn't agree with, maybe someone else tells you the same thing down the line. So always write it down, journal it down. Journaling is just so important for EQ. Journal it down, look at it later and be like, okay, let's see if that's I don't know, that hypothesis will come true. So see it as like an experiment even, you know, just.
What I found very interesting right now is that when I look back also on my leadership career at Pleo, one of the topics I struggled most with is I thought I always need to not be friends with everyone in my team, but I wanted to have a good relationship with them. And then when people were underperforming, or we had to let someone go because of underperformance, I struggled a lot, because then, as you mentioned, it's like, if you have a good relationship with these people, how do you ensure that you are not too nice, right? Let's say, put it like this, that you are like, okay, is the message actually received?
Did they understand that?
Yeah, I think that was one of my biggest struggles, because I don't want to have like not fights, but it's like I don't want to have like I wanted to have a good connection to the people, but that was one point where I felt like, okay, being emotionally intelligent doesn't mean to be friends with everybody, but looking to the current market conditions, I think a lot of sales streams are struggling right now. A lot of companies know that there's like underperformance right now. So I think, my question to you would be, is like, how can I be emotionally intelligent as a leader, but ensure also like kind of a performance culture without becoming an asshole? Let's put it like this.
Fine balance. Dom, what you just said to me, I hear so often, and I see leaders like this everywhere. And I must say that is like it's called the affiliative leadership style. So you really place like emotional bonds as like it's a strong value for you, like to get along with your team, for them to like you and so on. Totally normal. The trick is just to mix different styles when necessary. So in the situation where, you don't want to be an asshole, but you need to have a hard conversation, you can display cognitive empathy. And that's where you simply acknowledge the other person's experience, but you don't feel the emotion yourself. So it's level 1 empathy, cognitive. So you say, hey, I can understand that this is a tough situation for you. Like, I understand that this isn't ideal. This must be difficult for you right now. So you're acknowledging their experience. However, you're not like feeling the emotions with them, which means then you're able to, be a more authoritarian leader or a visionary leader or a coaching leadership style, and be like, okay, these are the next steps that we need to take in order for you to succeed. Let's discuss them and give me your feedback, and then do you agree? And then you come to an agreement together. Be collaborative. So show cognitive empathy, and then have a collaborative coaching conversation with them, being very clear and firm about milestones, and make sure that they agree with every step so that you have their buy-in. And that's it.
Yeah.
You can be very empathetic in that way, yet also be very firm and clear and have these difficult conversations and share this difficult feedback. And that's something that I have mastered over the years. Yeah. It does come easy, it comes kind of natural to some people, but this is totally coachable. And I do help a lot of leaders with that, because it's a hard one.
Yeah, also like what you just mentioned, like having hard conversations. I think this is something that leaders need to learn, because this is normally nothing that someone teaches you along the way. And I see also a lot of people getting promoted from being a sales rep or like an account executive, then becoming a manager, and then it's like, okay, you're gonna figure it out, right? Now you have the title. Go, hey, good luck. And then I think then these kind of situations comes up, and people are just like, okay, how do we actually manage this? So I'm very happy that you are there and helping companies to establish a good culture and like good leadership culture there. We're coming kind of to the end, but
we're having so much fun.
Yes, but I also want to take a look in the future, right? So we talked about it a bit already, that sales and leadership changed a lot over the last month and years, but I know you don't have the glass ball, but the crystal ball. But how would you like look into the future when you think of leadership in sales, but also sales itself? Where do you see it in, let's say, 2 to 3 years? What kind of skill sets are important, and what can people do now to actually be successful in the future?
Yeah, well, I actually don't see I see a difficult future, I must say. I see a future where, especially in sales, our profession, leaders will lead mixed teams of AI sales agents and humans. And that's the reality. I mean, we already have the technology now. So it's only a matter of time. The salespeople and leaders who will remain and who will thrive will be the ones who have the most attuned people skills, the ones who can build relationships with their clients and with other people, the ones who can truly influence others, the ones who are extremely good communicators to both humans and AI. So you need to be also good at prompt engineering as a leader and a salesperson, but also switch then and be empathetic, have clear communication, transparency to your team, coach your team still using AI, but still also adding the human element, and that takes EQ. That's just it. So you need to have extremely good people skills, otherwise you might be replaced by an AI agent. This is just the reality.
Is there any scenario where you see leaders being replaced by AI? Is there any scenario you see there?
Scenario? Leaders? I mean, that's a difficult one. Perhaps the typical kind of call center, kind of these teams, I really see that being replaced by AI or agents of some sort. I think there'll be one leader overseeing all of this, but I do think that area of sales will be very much affected. Also, like lead generation, perhaps like the entry-level BDR role, which is a role that I'm so passionate about. It's how I started my career, so I absolutely love the role and it adds a lot of value. But now, when you have BDRs doing work slop, who are using AI just to generate sequences that still don't make sense and they're generic.
Yeah.
I don't see a long-lasting future there. So either you add human value on top of what you're doing, or you will not thrive. Yeah. I believe that's the future. It's not good news, but I'm reading a lot about this topic.
But it's like, of course, I think this topic is everywhere. This question pops up everywhere. It's like, are we going to be replaced? I don't think it as well. I think there's going to be a mix. And I think what I've seen, which is quite interesting, is that there are first companies saying, hey, we are building an AI first company, which means we are only hiring leaders. That main skill set needs to be, or like one of the main skill sets is leveraging AI to build the whole organization below you. So that means hiring a VP of sales, and there's not going to be one sales rep. It's all agents, and they are responsible for building these agents. And the same for finance, for operations, stuff like this. So in the end, you will have like let's say 15, 20 people company with like hundreds of agents below that, which will be way more efficient than let's say can scale way faster than a company that needs to hire and always be like slower because they can't get in the people to do the work. So this is what I've seen like in some interviews that is happening right now already. They're not there yet, but I think this is something I see like also when it comes to leaderships, maybe at some point we will be more about the programming and the prompting side than being emotionally intelligent, because you don't have a team anymore.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about my segment, enterprise. You know, these are the largest organizations in the company. These are some long, complex sales cycles. Yes. Like they want one person, they want one contact person who is like consulting them for a year or longer. I'm not sure if the trust is there yet. It will come, but not yet.
Yeah, and also, to be honest, like what we are talking about here in the podcast oftentimes is already top notch. So I think also the way companies using AI in the companies, when I talk to some people from Mittelstand, they don't even understand what we're talking about. So I think there's like a huge gap, but this also means that the companies that are actually leveraging AI and like going that route probably will be way more efficient in the future.
Yeah, without a doubt. There's no avoiding it.
It's going to be interesting, but I think we both will see it in the future.
We will. Let's buckle up. It's all about fusion skills, human and AI collaboration, making sure that you have the people skills and the prompt engineering skills.
That's true.
That's what I'd be working on.
Thanks a lot for being on the podcast the second time, Steph. It was fun talking to you again. And for everyone who wants to know more about Stephanie and emotional intelligence, please also follow her on LinkedIn. Give us a like for the podcast. Please also share with your friends and co-workers if you find it helpful. And in the next episode, you're going to hear my co-host Gerald again. So thanks again for listening in today, and happy selling, everyone.